Hey, Shavua Tov, while we are thrilled to see the hostages coming back from their horrific captivity in Gaza, most Israelis are uncomfortable with the terms of this ceasefire. Is there something in the Torah to guide us? I believe there is. God beseeches Moses to ask the Israelites to request gold, silver, and garments from their Egyptian neighbors before they leave. Why should they ask for these things? Well, the commentator Rashi gives us a very surprising and strange answer. He says, God is saying to Moses that the righteous Abraham shouldn't have any complaints against me, because I promised him that his descendants would be enslaved in foreign land, but they would leave with great wealth. If they don't ask this from the Egyptians, if they don't leave with great wealth, Abraham will say, I kept the first part about the slavery, but not the second part about the riches. But wait a minute. Why is God concerned about what Abraham will say? What about his own promise? Isn't that enough to require the Israelites to ask for the gold and the silver? And if Abraham wouldn't complain, God doesn't have to keep his promise anyway? This is a puzzling answer. But there is a potent truth about who Israel is supposed to be as a nation hidden in this answer. Are we just to be survivors, or are we to thrive with our heads held high? Abraham had a grandson with two names, Yaakov and Yisrael. The first name, Yaakov, implies lowliness. It means grabbing onto a heel, and one gets the image of Yaakov crawling behind his brother Esav and grasping for his heel. Who is high and who is low in that picture? But the second name, Yisrael, was given to him by the angel who he had vanquished after an all-night struggle. And the angel explained the name, because you have struggled with man and with God and prevailed. That's an ascendant name. The book of Genesis tells a very troubling story of the prince of a city called Shechem, who kidnapped and raped Yaakov's daughter Dinah. Yaakov's two sons, Shimon and Levi, then went to Shechem, killed all of the men as they rescued their sister. Yaakov was angry at them for this violence, not necessarily on a moral basis, but he says that he's afraid that the Canaanite nations will seek revenge and will come and kill him and his family. That's what he says to the brothers. But they respond with a piercing question. They say to Yaakov, will he have turned our sister into a prostitute? In other words, if we just take Dinah back and move on with life, they have pushed us down and they remain high. We must stop being lowly. We must stop crawling and grasping at heels. We must be struggling and prevailing even with angels. Now, the Torah doesn't say who is correct. It just tells us the story. But it adds a postscript. Because as Yaakov and his family traveled away from Shechem, there was, quote, a fear of the Lord on all of the nations, and they did not pursue the family of Yaakov. So I believe that this is what Rashi is telling us. This is why Abraham was invoked as the reason why Israel must ask for the riches. Because if they don't, then Egypt remains higher and Israel remains lower. If we look back in history, we will see that they had the benefit of enslaving us, and we left with basically nothing. And so Abraham will say metaphorically that God pushed us down, but that did not lift us up afterwards with even greater riches. And that's not the way it's supposed to be. Every challenge that the nation of Israel faces must see us emerge from the other side, stronger, better, and higher than we were when we went in, not weaker. Not crawling away to lick our wounds, but with our heads held high. The same thing in our current struggle. We cannot go back to October 6th. We need to push on until Israel's head is held high and our enemies are no more. And I will add one other thought, especially about the ceasefires. After each plague, Pharaoh got a ceasefire. He did it by promising to let the Israelites go. And then what happened? He reneged. And the next plague came, even more intense. So this war is not over. There may be a ceasefire, but it will eventually reach a conclusion. And it will be the conclusion that the psalmist says in the following words, open quote, a lowly man will not know, and the fool will not understand when the evildoers blossom like the grass, and those who commit atrocities bloom. But it is for their eternal destruction. And you, O Lord, shall be on high, ascendant forever. Shavua Tov.